Good evening, all. Apologies, I'm late. Energy levels have dropped, apparently. Starting with some art. Gonna be chillin' and sketching for tuber. Not the thumbnail. Shoot. And hey there, Solace. Hopefully the evening's running well on your side. Fair warning in advance, this playlist is going to be a bit random, but it'll kind of help me focus tonight. Dun, dun. All right then. Let's see. Come on. Team random. Sure. Let's see here. That's an interesting subsection of them. You could probably do Milcery. Milcery's not too bad. Dun, dun, dun. I should probably be careful about Google searching this one as well, to be completely honest with you, but should be fine. We shouldn't accidentally find not safe for work art of Milcery or Alcremie unless we're specifically searching for it. All right, let's see here. What do we want to do with good old little Milkmon? Dun, dun, dun. Yep. Milk Monster, Milk Monster. What do I want to do with the Milk Monster? Gotta get its nice little goo crown out there. One in the far back. Doesn't really need to be a required number of these. You just gotta make sure that it looks viscous enough. Which is not the phrasing one would normally want with this, but there we go. I was wondering when you'd get to the ooey gooey. Hey there, Nano. Welcome in. Hopefully the evening's running alright on your side so far. I kind of just, I do keep just rolling randomly for the most part, but yeah, it would kind of took us a bit to actually get to Milsuri, oddly enough. But how are things on your side so far? And are you enjoying your evenings? Because I know that's kind of what matters the most. It's nice, gooey arms. Oh, I guess I didn't take it because of the exclamation point. Where's Mouse? Here-ish? One more day until school. I've been counting. That's probably expected. Yeah. Apologies that you have to go back relatively soon, but it is kind of just the time of year for it, as much as that's not fun to say. 3 quarter assignments already? Jesus. Your school is just unnecessarily quick on that, isn't it? Um, it's a little bit too far. There we go. But I guess it's good for them to get stuff going and out of the way. I guess that's not the worst thing in the world. There we go. And what's the goo doing? The goo's going to be holding on to something. I'm just not sure what I'd want it to hold on to right now, to be honest with you. I'd almost want it to be holding on to just like a mega stone or something, just for the fun of it, to see what would happen if you spun it with a mega stone, but what would you even color that? Because it was Gen 6, so it would have been around the mega stuff. Go over there. A gun, perhaps. No, not quite a gun. Unfortunately, the fairies are weak to guns, which is a bit of a shame. Let's see here. Let's draw an orb. I draw a circle. Not really. That's definitely not a good circle. Cute. I guess I could also just do this and be a little lazy. Oops. Make sure it's actually small enough for it to actually hold it. To be honest, I've never seen the basic form of Creamy. You do generally see Alcremie over Milcery lately, don't you? I think just because I guess we don't actually have Milcery in Gen 9, so you would see just Alcremie in general, if only because of the fact that, the evolved form is kind of the more important one at the end of the day. There we go. And then it just needs a gay gradient on it. I don't think oh, I do have that set up. That's handy. Do-do-do. That. guess that does kind of cover up the other arm. So I would probably want to have that up here. Maybe just kind of holding it like that out of sheer confusion. Being like, what is this strange stone and how can I put it in my hair? Here. Just the lovable, sweet little fairy blob coming across a rock of magical power that it normally cannot wield without the help of others. There we go. All the random sketch layers that doesn't actually look too bad conceptually. I kind of just want to give it this. I don't know why, just this looks better to me for some reason. I think I need the mouse for this. Okay. Not in there. Now we get the fun of trying to actually line this. Too big? Yeah. Nope. Had to go a little higher first. Then we can come back down. Like that. Hey there, Jasper. Welcome in. Hopefully the evening's running well for you so far. And hopefully the new year's been treating you alright. Haven't really gotten the chance to chat with you too much, just because I've been a wee bit preoccupied in a few other things, but hopefully 2023 hasn't been too much of a rug pull for you so far. Needs to be smooth as this is meant to be a liquid. Should do these smaller strokes, I think, just to make sure I'm getting the angles I need. Oh, too big. Here. Kind of want to make it look like this is conjoining properly. Yeah. Probably should just clean up some of these lines a little, since we're still fairly early on in this. Um, Don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. Oh boy, I haven't heard those commercials in a hot minute. That was a marketing style they had going for quite some time, isn't it? Just because they wanted to try and give off an air of confidence in older people buying their alcohol, which wasn't the greatest idea on their end, to be completely honest, but I'm sure they got it to work for at least a certain amount of time. Oh, yep. But I guess a lot of the alcohol-based ads kind of had some fun with most of their marketing, just because they were trying to give off an air of regality and sophistication when it came to something like Coors or Corona, which weren't exactly the fanciest of drinks in the first place. Need to get my strokes to be quicker, but to actually line up with what I need. Like that. But everything comes in time. Get rid of some of this extra gunk. Yeah. And Modelo is my actual favorite. Can't say I've heard of Modelo off the top of my head, but I will take your word for it that it's good. I'm usually not like an actual beer drinker, just because I find beer is not really doing anything for me. Or at least the beers that I end up drinking taste a little bit too much like wood for my tasting, so I tend to just avoid most of them. You know, I don't really know why I seem to think most just general beers taste like wood, but I just might have a bit too, not refined, sensitive of a palate to not just taste the barley in it. Might just be me though. Well, I usually tend to stick to more mixed things with vodkas and uh, liqueurs. Yeah, liqueurs. Do love me some polar bear shots. Go down smooth, and I can usually get through a good amount of them before I actually feel anything. See if we can actually get this to up with that. Too much. Fill on eraser. Liquor over liqueur is better than beer. I mean, beer is kind of just meant to be, I don't want to say cheap, but an inexpensive way of getting alcohol into your body. So it tends to work out a little bit better for longer sessions. What if I just hold the tablet? Will I have hand confidence to do that? Yeah, okay. When I need to go for the bigger lines, it's better to just hold on to it. see here. What are we looking at? All right, you're behind. Okay. Nope. Also, nope. This is probably the safest way to do my lining, to be honest with you. I'm just usually a bit clearer when I can get the straight lines going. Too much. There we go. You drink liquor first to dull the taste buds, and when you're tipsy, you knock back the beers because they don't taste bad anymore. Oh, yeah, that's definitely what you'd want to do. I'm sure most humans in existence follow that methodology and don't get sick, violently sick, after trying to do that. I know there is the whole liquor to beer and you're in the clear saying, but I don't think that works for everybody, as much as they would want to believe it. Yeah, much. About, no, too far. About there. There we go. Liquor before beer in the clear, beer before liquor, never sicker, which is because of how much alcohol is in your system when you go to bed. The more you have. Oh, yeah, that's it. Can't say I've ever had to really worry about that too much. Obviously, being a robot, I don't have to worry about alcohol intake as much, but it's mildly funny when people suggest trying to drink absinthe and then you kind of just are bored because it doesn't do anything to you. So those were fun days. Those were days when people thought that they could actually drink that and not be affected by it. Oops. Then this one's technically going to start here. Here we go. Probably need smaller lines just to make the orb. Here. Little increments. There we go. And then so if you're doing liquor right before bed, you'll get sick. When you do beer, your blood alcohol content's a bit lower. That is true, actually. Although, I guess depending on person to person, you're gonna have to worry about where your back actually sits. because I feel like some others will kind of burn through it a bit slower than they should. See, that should line up directly to the arm, so. And smaller lines for the curvature of the hand. Much. I also hate to say it, but I'm not sure if I need to look up the sauce tutorial for this one. If only because I'm pretty sure this mon would have the very same consistency as that. Yep. Also, yeah, fair warning to everyone. I'm listening to my 2021 Wrapped thing, or my 2022 Wrapped thing. It's gonna bounce around a bit. And that's being mildly generous. Get that little gooey hand on the Megastone. There we go. And this just needs to line back up with this line, which make it a bit more of a curve. Just so we can do that. What did I miss? It almost looks too long. And I guess everything being straight up isn't really the best, because it kind of just splooshes out as well. Oh, rework then. Eraser, need you bigger. And let's freehand this. I guess thinking on it, I haven't really refreshed my supply of liquor for a bit. I should probably look into that, because I don't think some of the stuff I have has been used for a while. And I know alcohol is going to last you a while anyways, but it'd be nice to get some potentially fresher stuff. Oh, too hard. There. Part of you. This needs to come down a bit because that looks like it's on the other layer of the body. I do kind of half wonder if we'll get a game in Pokemon going forward that will focus more on all the fairy types that seem to be based more off of sweet goods. If only because that does seem to be a theme they're going for nowadays, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but there's probably a few too many of them at this rate to make it seem like a coincidence. And this can come down a bit further. Although admittedly speculating on future designs of a Pokemon game when we just had Gen 9 might be a little bit too much. Oh, this to go in a little. Also, get so small. Weird. Now we need to figure out what you're doing. What are we going to get you to do? This will essentially be bodies coming up here. We'd probably want you going outwards a bit as well. But you don't need to go too much higher than the other ones. Hard. Okay. Then you, I would want to turn in the other direction if I can. Get that off. So then what we would want to do, kind of put this out here. And it can link up with the rest of the body just to make sure that the thickness of our Milcery here is at least apparent enough. Then that makes you a bit too close. There we go. That's the right brush. I guess another thing is that I'm making it too upwards, aren't I? Hold on. Because I do prefer how, at least the original art just kind of has it as little bumps, kind of like a pseudo crown almost. I'm making them very thin and gangly, which is never a good thing. Let's try and freehand this a little, shall we? Too busy of a head, Milstery. We're gonna have to cut your hair down a wee bit. Let's see, if we wanted to try doing that design a little bit more, what we would end up doing is... angles. Do. Get that. Then leads into that. Slightly smaller bumps. Yeah, that looks a bit better. When you're dealing with a milk-based Mon, you definitely need it to be a little bit more obvious that it's a viscous liquid and not just some weird string bean effect. All right. Let's do that then. You can be a little smaller for now. And then I haven't exactly been keeping up with my Pokemon sketches lately, just because off time is becoming non-existent in the new year. So why don't we try to do at least 2 of these today? Or at least attempt to. It's too hard. We'll try not worrying about the full render like we did on the Glaceon last time, if only because that took us a bit longer. Much. And then hopefully, at the very least, everyone's week has been going relatively well so far. Welcome to 2023 and all that, and hopefully nothing has been hitting you immediately quickly, at least, with the new year. Haven't really been hearing any largely catastrophic news, aside from a bank that had basically claimed the, not profits, but claimed the assets of a lot of crypto bros, so I guess fuck them. But it seems mildly interesting that people are only now starting to find ways of just screwing them over compared to everything else. Oops. Especially considering I thought most of the cryptocurrency stuff had gone away for the most part, or at least was on the way out. Does kind of seem like it's sticking around for a bit longer than it should, though, so I guess we'll kind of have to deal with it for a little bit longer. But I guess this is going to be one of those things that's more so. We'll hear about it being dead when the proper obituary comes out for it, which hopefully is soon. I would like to see the GPU market actually come back to life at some point. Then there. Okay, that works out all right. Hey there, Sauce. Welcome in. And yeah, we are doing a little bit of art today. Usually Saturdays are going to be sticking to art for the most part, just because I do need to practice a little bit more in terms of my composing and drawing and all that. Kind of have a rough idea about how to do stuff, but I'm clearly no master or anything like that. But how is the night going for everyone so far? Hopefully decently well. Oops. How do I do this? Who died? Oh, no one specifically has died, but I kind of would like to see cryptocurrency die at some point soon. Because I think it's been around for a little bit too long. Mostly chill weekend. Well, it's good to hear that the weekend's at least been relatively alright so far. Thank you for the rocks. Yeah. I heard obituary and had to ask, and yeah, I agree with that. It would be nice if it was to go away at least. I feel like it's just caused more problems than anything else. For not really much good reason aside from adding more money into the market, which isn't doing anything. That isn't a circle, Jude. Try again. That's a bit better. These can be a little bit blobby and misshapen if we need. Only because it's meant to be a cream, anyhow. Okay. That's the basic half of it done, at least. Now this part, which is probably better to put on another layer just for the lines. Otherwise, doing well. I got the weekly Toho matches in on the other side of my screen. Very nice. I guess it is Saturday, huh? So they are probably going relatively full hog on the weekly tourneys, aren't they? I'm assuming it's still 12.3 that group ends up doing, but I am more than welcome with being wrong on that regard. Yeah, we'll just do that. Get that going. Oops. There we go. Yeah. The biggest mouthful you'll ever hear for a game title. Yeah, I'm not even sure how to say that properly, to be completely honest with you. Toho Hiso Tensoku Chodyokyu Ginyoru no Nazo wo Oe. That is ridiculous if you're not even a native Japanese speaker, and it's hell if you aren't. Zun, what are you even doing? Nope. Hi. There we go. I approve better than I could do. Well, I'm glad I was able to at least get it within your recommendations, at least, Omega. Eyeline needs to end about here-ish to not look super strange. Because we aren't at an extreme angle or anything like that. Can be a little wider though. Nope. Neither of that works. I'm glad they still get up to 100 viewers. Anyway, how's our project going? Project's going relatively alright so far. This is kind of just part of my daily practice, which is just kind of rolling a random Pokemon team generator and then drawing one of the 3 options that it ends up giving us, which today's was not the worst of options, but figured I'd go with the easy one anyways, just so that way I could take it a little easier on myself, since I was a little late in starting anyways. But so far, so good. Milcery is just kind of a milky little blob that's good to draw, so good way to just kind of start off a night of sketching and drawing and such. Gotta draw them all, exactly. Over time, we'll just kind of get a collection of them in the digital folder, and I've already got a few in my traditional one, so we're kind of on our way to making it there. This will also help me a bit in case I ever do want to digitally do the Mystery Dungeon story, just so that way I've got a bit more of a reference in potential models for characters if I want to like make them a little bit more unique, since I'm adding eyelashes to this Milcery because I just feel like it's appropriate now. Although for consistency, I probably should do that. There we go. What's Mystery Dungeon? Mystery Dungeon is a side series of Pokemon that kind of features the main character being a human that is transported into the Pokemon world. And what ends up happening is they're usually tasked with some sort of quest, whether that's relating to saving the world from, well, actually, most of the games are trying to save the world from some corrupt Pokemon or corrupt entity that is currently infesting it right now. But usually how it works is that your human character is turned into a Pokemon, which is usually one of the starters or one of the starter adjacent Pokemon like Cubone or Meowth or Skitty or just a cute one. And then you play the Mystery Dungeon style of games, which is a top-down, turn-based kind of top-down, turn-based adventure. So if you know things like Legend of Grimrock, it's kind of like that, but top-down instead, and you can move diagonally. And then the dungeons themselves are randomly generated every time you go in there. which is the other point as to why it's a mystery dungeon and not a just dungeon crawler. Cute. Oh, whoops. Be on its own layer. Oh, that's not helpful at all. I mean, that's a little big. Actually, no, that's good. Okay. So get this out of there. And then get rid of this. There we go. So you end up drawing your own Pokemon for that somehow? Uh, Not exactly. The way that I would think about it, or just to explain what I actually meant before, I've been thinking of an idea of a story based on that idea, where either you are just Pokemon in a Pokemon world with no humans in it whatsoever, and then what ends up happening is just plot happens for realistically whatever reason it may want it to happen. I think for the story that I had in mind, because I've been following a few people who do Pokemon fusion based things, I would think of doing a story around a corrupted Palkia that is screwing with the space of everything and fusing Pokemon together to just kind of merge it all together because he's gone corrupt by some level of darkness. But the general idea is just you are a Pokemon in a Pokemon world without humans. Humans are kind of just a myth for the most part. And then you just go on an adventure. So for the story I had in mind, the Palkia would be the main enemy, like I said, but it would be two Pokemon just kind of surviving in that world. I'm pretty sure the Mega symbol is bigger than that. Um, but eventually I'll get to just kind of drawing more of the idea as I feel like the daily sketches of Pokemon are kind of coming to a limit. Hi. I'm also realizing that the Mega logo symbol is going to be relatively toned down. Hard. There we go. That looks a bit better. But for this, it just kind of gives me a practice on it. I don't even know where such a thing as... Oh, I didn't know there was a thing as Pokemon Fusion. Sounds a lot of possibilities. Yeah, there are a few possibilities when it comes down to it, at least. Pokemon Fusion Generator? I think it's... Oh, well, yeah, this works too, admittedly. Random. So what ends up happening is there would be things like these just kind of running around the world to some extent. Is that like DBZ Fusion? Oh, no, not at all. It ends up, well, kind of, actually. It would be similar to DBZ Fusion. If only because it would be two Pokemon just kind of being mushed together, and then you would get traits of both existing to try and bring out the potential of both. Apparently, whoever designed the sprite for this Slowbo Dragonite didn't really know where to put the wing. Because the wing shouldn't really be going on the shell. The wing should be here, but someone custom designed that one at least, so that's good. Oh god, that's disgusting. Although I'm liking the Steelix Paris. That's good. That's disgusting, but that's probably disgusting in a good way. Let's see. Pyrogion Mega. Some of these definitely haven't been worked on a ton, but although that's cool. Although I'm not sure if that's intentional. Yeah, that one's definitely not too. Some of those sprites aren't necessarily finished and finalized yet, but the general idea would just be mixing Pokemon together, making them look semi-demonic to some extent, and then just making it work in the context of not necessarily a horror story, but it would definitely be up there. Oh, shit. Goodbye, tablet pen. Come back here. Alright, I guess for lines, that's not too bad. Anything I can do to clean that up more, though? I guess the backside? Oh. Thank you for the hydration, Omega. So then, can you fuse two fusions? No, I think that'll get to a point where, like... I think there comes a point when you're screwing with DNA too much. So if you're fusing too many things together, I feel like that would just end poorly for you. So DNA would just end up getting like corrupted or something, and it just would not end very well for anything that you were trying to do. That's probably all right. Let's see here. I just put all of those into a folder. Not really what I wanted. There we go. Sounds like that itself could actually make for a wild plot. I know that there have been some fan series that ended up coming out. If memory serves, in the Infinite Fusion games, save for a select few, almost everything fused with Paris line ends up looking like that Steelix did, all zombies. That is kind of the idea, though, when it does come down to the Paris and Parasect line, though, right? You usually just kind of have a zombie added onto... Oops, wrong way. Need to reverse it. You kind of just have a zombie that is put onto something else, which doesn't always end in the best results. Shrink it by like 1. And then this just to add a general color into everything. Then white specifically for the eyes. Welcome, by the way, Liz. Mad scientist fused Pokemon, some absurd blob of a dozen species. I feel like if you start mixing things too much, especially in just the sense of a Pokemon game, you kind of just end up with Ditto, right? Because you're fusing too many species together, which ends up creating just too much of an amalgamation and it can't handle itself to be alive anymore. Expand by 2. There we go. Because all realistically Ditto is just a failed clone of one thing, yes, but it seems to have the capabilities of going into anything. Ditto has a few neat fusions, but yeah, more or less. Ditto is kind of just a blob. A blob that can turn into anything if it so chose to, but... Select expand? And then I probably want to burn this a little. Here. There we go. Better. And then the Shang Tsung of Pokemon. Oh no. The Shang Tsung of Pokemon would not conceptually end well. It would work well in the concept of a story, but I feel like you would run into some problems dealing with Shang Tsung just in any other universe. Expand by 2 again? And then I would like to include everything in here if I can. Please and thank you. That should do it for us. Okay. And then for one thing, I'll just erase this layer of colors for it. And I'll put it on its own layer just to make it a little bit more easily recognizable later. Let's just put this here for now, just to have a separate color which stands out a bit. Even though realistically this is going to end up being like oops. Oops. Then a bit of yellow, a bit of green, and I guess a bit of purple over here. It'll just be some ball in some variety of colors. I'm still not sure what I want to color it yet, because I know when you're dealing with Megastones, Megastones tend to focus more on the colors of the evolved mon in of itself. But considering Alcremie is just every color in existence, I'm not sure, like, how would you do a Megastone for Alcremie? You would technically do rainbow, but let's see. It's got like 6 different colors, right? We can at least focus on that. And then just in case, Alcremie colors. Copy. Or this one. Create new from clipboard. There we go. Looks like Screw Attack to me. It is technically a Screw Attack, to be honest with you. Mega Stone. It's like... Oh, I actually need to make it wider now that I'm looking at it. Okay, noted. Blended rainbow. I'm gonna have to do a bit of a blended rainbow, yeah. Let's see here. It at least has its own color layer. Where's the layer with the ball? There we go. So we get rid of all of that. I will need to get rid of these lines, which I guess I can just erase myself. Not too many problems. There we go. Let's see here. It's actually a lot less defined than I thought it would be. Okay. That's not too bad. Oh, nope. 5 purple. A little tighter than that. And welcome in, by the way, Liz, if I didn't mention it properly before. Good to have some additional eyes that just kind of have Pokemon knowledge in here. That's why that looks off. Oops. Because I know not everyone is going to be sticking with the Pokemon fandom. But it's good to have extra eyes when we can. It's also too wide, isn't it? There's a limit, Jude. You definitely need to hit it by now. Here. Having it be a little bit more subdued isn't necessarily the end of the world either, but I don't know why I just can't hit the size on this. Maybe it's just there, and I'm starting it a little bit too vertically. And then it kind of just comes to the tip, like that. And then it just kind of starts on the way down to going into a beefier section down there. Okay. That makes a bit more sense. There we go. That's better. And then what we can do to help with that is select. I guess shrink by about here. Yeah, that should probably be thick enough. And then invert. This goes on its new layers to make the cleanup a bit easier. Here? No, right. Select, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Thank you. Here. And then slightly chunkier line, just kind of going across. And then we'll color that as we need it, but for the most part, it's some variety of a dark color that's kind of just inlaid into the thing. And then our poor little Milcery is just going to be very, very heavily confused as to what this marble actually is. All right, so we've got this layer now, as well as just the ball layer itself. Okay, figured that was there. Good. So I guess we should probably do the ball first, just so that way we can understand what we're doing with it. Because what would be the best way of actually handling this thing? Considering the mega orbs are just a glass sphere in the first place, you would probably want it in a way where you not necessarily devoid of color. Oops. Don't go bigger, Jude. We need slightly smaller. Where it functionally would tighten up its colors right near the edge, but it would be a bit more translucent in the middle. Which would make me think of doing something like that to it. So that way, when we start overlaying the colors onto it, we'll have to put a bit of a curve on this anyways as we're doing it, but do a bit of red, bit of yellow, orange. Hey there, Bit. Good morning, buddy. You sleep well? Actually, I can go smaller on this, can't I? Here. Get rid of that for now. It's way too early. I mean, 10 o'clock at night is a little bit early for you, isn't it? Although you do tend to be up for D&D at least, so you're not missing out on too much at least. How's your day going? Day's going alright. I was able to at least get some grinding done in Elden Ring today, which is always surprisingly annoying, but we finally were able to get at least a tower shield, which apparently is one of the hardest things to do in the early game because it took me hours to even get one, but here we go. I'd say it's at least a good sign of progress. Here. Then do that, which would blend them together a bit better. Oh, does it not? Well, that's rare. That usually does it. All right, buddy. I need to blend these in a bit better. But then aside from that, I'm kind of just getting stuff done, which is the best way of just saying that I'm too busy to actually remember what I wanted to do most of the day. Blend? That better? A little better, yeah. Let's see. That can go down, that can go down, brush size can go up. Yeah. I'm debating about spending some of my points. I mean, you're allowed to if you want, but I know that I do keep the various sketch options open just in case people want to, and you don't have to wait for the art streams to spend those most of the time. What lining? Honestly, would I need lining for this? It was lower early opacity on that, and that honestly looks fine. Um, then this. What color would I want this to be in? Because I know the traditional color for it tends to be like... That's not what I wanted to do. Just a blue like that? Or more a dark one? But that's kind of boring, right? I almost have enough for the Rocks Fall thingy. I would recommend at the very least, Rocks Fall is usually just one of the things that insta-kills, just to like preview what it does. And I want to let you know about this now, because this is better served for like when I'm playing a game. Which is to make me stop moving for a bit. Yeah, that's the general idea of Rocks Fall at least. So you may not want to waste that on like an art stream, is mostly what I'm trying to get across. Let's see here. Gonna need to go a lot down. Unless you just don't like the art. That is true. Technically speaking, there's nothing stopping you from just kind of shoving it on because you don't like the art. This should probably go above it if we're adding shine to a marble. And pure white. Now I'm debating on the robot ore for Robot Adele. That is entirely in your court. Obvious point, though, I do need references for that. Just because I kind of remember what they look like, but My memory is about as useful as a Macintosh computer. Realistically, I probably should put a red hue on this, shouldn't I? Then a bit bigger. Then up a bit. Make Venomade. And maybe a bit of a white glint to it. Oh, that gets washed out almost entirely already. Let's see here. How am I gonna do this? I guess we can always think about that a bit later as well. Is that my eyes? Okay, let's just do that first. So, yeah, maybe a bit darker. Get in there with tiny brush. Just kind of do some shenaniganry with these pseudo eyebrows. Probably zoom in so I can actually see what I'm doing. Um, eh, oh, that's actually below the rest of the body. No, it shouldn't be. There we go. Oh, I actually missed a little bit there. That's not very good. That's probably a bit better. Um, better. And then realistically, I should just do that for the bottom mouth too, because that's going to be darker. Yeah, that works. Grab this color again. Then we'll do that to the body, which should be these lines. Yeah. Overlay. Then big brush. And then we just hit everything with that. Okay. Looking fairly Milcery-y so far. Now I guess we just kind of have to figure out what we want to do for our lighting and shading and such. Blob lights, which will end up being a bit of experimentation, but the idea is roughly to have very white, shiny-ish areas on the top of each of these, which I'm not sure if I'm actually hitting or not. Okay, I am. And pretty much the top of all of these. But I think I'm going a little bit too hard right now. Then little one here. Little in here. If I do this, kind of just gets rid of them for the most part. But does give me the faint glow I'm looking for. So let's try a little bit more here. This hand could use a little bit. So could that one, although it won't be as readily available. And you have everything right there. Oh, welcome in, Haruhi. Yeah, just getting some art done today. Figured Saturday should probably be a little bit better served as just trying to relax a little bit and trying to get some art practice in to see if I can advance my skills any in that field. Since it'd be nice to be a little bit better at art. But how are things on your side so far? Have you been enjoying your weekend? And have you been able to just kind of get a chance to relax a little? Um, nice and chill. That is also the idea. Yeah. Kind of just want to rest a little bit, give a place for folks to relax and not have to think super hard about everything. And then we'd probably want like a general layer just back here. And here wants to be fainter as well as this one. Gaussian. Let's see. Doesn't look too bad. Mill 3 doesn't really have a lot going on for them anyhow, so relatively easy to just kind of get a little bit going on them. Although I should add in a bit more spotlighting. Oh, sorry. That ball and this ball. Then right here on this arm and there. Let's see, we've been relaxing best we can. We've been house sitting. Ooh, very nice. House sitting is always just an interesting idea, but it's helpful if you have friends that actually want you to do it. So hopefully you're at least able to enjoy your house sitting, just because I know that can be a little tedious depending on the home. It's actually not too bad. Silly little Milcery who's confused over the Megastone and whether or not it should be happy about eating it or not. I lower the opacity. Oh, no, on that. Sorry, line layer. That's actually a bit better. Let's see. Hope you've been doing well. Seems like a lot of fun streams lately. We've been trying to, at the very least. My energy levels have been woefully low, so it's been a little bit hard keeping up with all of it, but been doing our best at least. Let's see, it was Owl Parents we were house sitting for. Ooh, very nice. They got a nice house, but it's not ours, so it's like we can only get so cozy and relaxed. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's understandable. Also, you haven't been able to actually hear the music for a very long time, have you? Okay, that explains a lot. What is my button to mute that? Just so I don't hit it again. That's it. Okay. Sorry about that. I guess stream has been a little bit quiet lately. Apologies about that. I'm assuming I just hit that at some point. Yeah, some music. I had Spotify up for the longest time, but no one pointed out they haven't been hearing anything. I'm assuming it's been off for a while, so apologies on that. Do I want to do backgrounds on these? Here. No, don't do that. Making an overview layer. If it found a mega stone, where would it find something like that? I don't think I've told you since you've debuted, but I do dig the new outfit. Well, thank you very much, Haruhi. I was trying my best to make sure that it would be a bit more comfortable looking, if only because I do try to give off a relatively comfortable vibe, at least when I have the opportunity to. Have anything that would just kind of trail off as I lifted my brush? Oh boy, that's not gonna work. Let's see here. Don't need that. But this. This would probably do what I want. Papered watercolor? Kind of, yeah. Bigger, better, and cut. There we go. The jacket design's very cool, and you like nice and warm, and you look nice and warm in the cabin. That is the idea, yeah. Admittedly, having a jacket inside the cabin is probably a little much, for lack of better phrasing, but considering I am just ending up being a robot anyways, not sure how useful that'll be either. I do want to just give off the vibe that you can kind of just sit back and possibly fall asleep here, since that seems to be a general habit of mine. Watercolors, there's thick brushes. That might actually be fine if I just make the brush smaller. Oh, do I have to put like a ton of pressure on this? Oh god. That could be a little bit much. Hold on. Let's see. Brush, amount of paint, density of paint, color stretch. That's probably not going to be super effective for time. Well, you know I've done that. Yeah, it kind of just seems to be a relative trend since I do try and keep things relatively calm here, which ends up being both a benefit and a curse to some extent, if only because of the fact that I try my best to make sure that people just take care of themselves, for lack of better phrasing. Yeah. Hey, the bit. Yeah, we have a little bit of a quack situation going on. There we go. Yeah, you've now spent a singular point bit. I hope you're happy with yourself. You've had a lot of options, but you decided to go with the duck. Oh. Can you draw Nisbet playing a Nisbet amp? Oh no. Okay, that's going to be a little bit more detailed, but thank you for the reference at least. Uh, Save as. Guess we'll come back to this then. I'm kind of just putting these in sketches, aren't I? Why is this not alphabetical? Here's sketches. Milsbury. Let's just do that for now. Then I recall being able to minimize a window. No. Nope, not that. Just no. There's Nisbet. No. And I will say that I am bad at drawing people, so I can't guarantee the accuracy on this one. Open. Let's see here. Guitar pose? Guitar with amp pose. That would work, actually. Copy image. It's okay because Nisbet is not people, they are treasure. That is fair. And see here. See if we can get the pose on this. Because this kind of an angle isn't really the best, but... So we'll need a box for the amp. Need it to be big enough for somebody to sit on. Then we would need that. Then probably a foot here, just going above it. Then we'll need body. With a head looking down. Here. Then the guitar would theoretically be here. Then the cable going into there. Don't know why, but I would want to give her a guitar in the shape of a fish. But I don't think Nisbet is like inherently cat energy. And here, here, leads off into the head. With all of the little dials for tuning. Then feet, foot. I guess that's the general framework of how this would look. I'm going to say that hesitantly because this is definitely a little more complicated than I was expecting for the first sketch, but let's just figure it out. So, Nisbet. How do I get you in here, girl? I guess first things first is I guess we kind of got to figure out how the body lines up in all this. So, knee here, leg in. Doesn't look to be wearing the most complicated of boots, so we can kind of just get away with doing that. These will be kept relatively close together, just to make sure that secondary foot looks like it's just kind of hiding behind there. And I feel like the Nisbet amp is going to get covered extremely quickly in this. So I'm not sure how much we'll get to see of the amp, but we'll at least have Nisbet herself in this. Let's see here. Body. That would end up being chest being about there. Into the body coming down. Will be a similar case up here. Let's see here. This will give her bow. Bow is not that big, Jude. Well, actually. Thank you for the head pat, Sharahi. What is just flat? And then a mythical member of the No Ears Club. Good on you, Nisbet. You don't need ears. Then the hat would come around this way. This part needs to be a bit higher up. A little bigger. That line is too far down. Uh, how do we do super thick? That side. I also probably won't fully render the sketches off of these, if only because my ability to do humans is not very good, and it will take me hours to render something like this. So I can't realistically do that in a stream setting. But I'll at least do as clean of a sketch as I can. Let's see here. Be more in line with her face, so this should probably be a little closer. And the bangs probably would come not that low. About there. Please don't select transparency. here. Why does that look off to me, though? It shouldn't, but it does. Um, yeah, okay. Little bit of movement. We'll just fix the bow and such. Bow will need to be about here. I don't know why I keep drawing a circle for that. When it's more of just a traditionally tied bow or ascot bow. Here. Then there we go. Then thicker line for the shirt top there. Which then cups the titties, as one should be doing. Leads into other thick line of the shirt here onto that shoulder. We won't worry about the cleavage too much, just because with her hunched over, I wouldn't expect her to really be showing that as much. Here. Rid of all of that noise since you're in the way. What do you mean, don't worry about her cleavage? I mean, there's a line literally right here. It's mildly obvious. Oh, too much. Uba is big on Nisbet, but not going into her stomach big. Then this leads into kind of a crop toppy look, which leads into a more pleated, not even a pleated skirt, just a bit of a rounder skirt. Oh, Jesus. Thank you, Mega. Let's see here. Bit of a fade there. Now let's see here. What do we do about the hands? Because we clearly can't hide them if Nisbet is playing a guitar. Um, then thumb would kind of come under here. Leads to Armcon. Please stop hitting that button. I like this new tablet, but the pen on it is very small for my big hands. So I keep hitting the please hit right click button, and I probably should just disable it at this rate. Get rid of that guideline for now, just so we can see what we're doing. And then here, also realizing I'm not really making Nisbet's arms thick enough. I should probably fix that. That goes away. There we go. That's a bit better. Now what do we do with this arm? Some of this just so I can see what I'm doing. Then the thumb would meet up with here with a pick? Because I'm assuming Nisbet isn't a finger player and would be semi-smart with her hands and use a pick. You're free to correct me on that, Izo, but I don't know too many people who just play straight by fingers anymore. And I know she's got the bandage on the one arm, but... Okay, so I just need to get the bandage on the pick playing, or the string area. Oops. Yeah. Oh boy, my lines are scratchy as all hell. This part... Just get rid of these, because I think I have a general idea about how I'm going to do this. I'm drawing something random, so if anyone wants to tell me if I'm accidentally getting a correct chord in this, then you're more than welcome to. The eraser a bit smaller. Hi. And here. Oh, I do have Mad World in here. Okay. Familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for the daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. The tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Had my head a want, drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. Eh, looks like a minor chord to me. Well, if it looks like something, I'm at least doing something right. Best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you. I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. To feel the way that every child should. Sit and listen. Sit and listen. The school there was very nervous. No one knew me. No one knew me. And the teacher tell me what's thy lesson. Look right through me. Look right through me. And I find it kind of funny. I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad, enlarging your mad. And I like the song a good bit as well, but it's definitely just a calmer one, and while it does seem a little bit too depressive, like make these a little bit more even. A little bit depressing conceptually, but it's still just easy enough to follow along. Just kind of the better point of it. And it's way too thick. Yeah. And then if that's lined up well enough, we should just be able to do also realizing this is a bass, isn't it? This isn't a guitar. Fuck it. Thank you, Google, for giving me a really wrong reference. Oh well. A 5-string bass, yeah. Oh, I'm missing one. That's why. Hold up. Go back. There's going to be a line here as well for a string that connects up to here where the other one is. Hey. I am not one for stringed instruments, I will say that much. And that would mean another dial needs to go roughly here. Okay. Now I need to make sure I don't shish kebab her fingers. Because at no point should the strings of any stringed instrument be above your fingers. That just kind of is asking for trouble. Okay. Then just get rid of all of these. You clearly haven't seen me play. No, I haven't. You don't exactly have hand cams up most of the time, Izo. I've got it here. Her hand's going to be at rest here for a second. So I guess the main base plate would be roughly here-ish. And going up to here. Oh, too far. Here. It's extra noise. Come on, hand, you can do it. There, which would mean all of the strings loosely end about here-ish. And if I remember most guitars, they would have... Oh. They basically just have a separate bridge about here. And then little dials holding onto them all. Which just kind of threads them onto the bridge like that. These aren't going to line up very cleanly, but that's fine. This is just a sketch. I'm not being paid money for this. And then the guitar itself, which now I'm realizing that I drew most of it down here as a bit of a dump truck. That's already far too much. So what we'd probably want instead is something that's not going to immediately poke into her boob, but then roughly, oops, come on, hand, you can do it. Get rid of some of this. Guitar will have unnecessarily large hook energy because I feel like it. You are too big now, Racer. That looks way too fucking small. Dude. Get rid of all of that. It will need dials because electric guitar. Even though you could technically plug an acoustic into an amp, and I'm not thinking about that now. And then I'm a little unsure as to what the purpose of something like that is. But I would at least know about the plug on here, which will lead to our cable, which I need to keep in mind. Which this is going to have to lead back into here, which is going to be right under Nisbet's leg, but that's okay. Need a bigger line for this. Oh. Wrong brush, apparently. Okay. Little bit obvious, but that's fine. And I guess I've been going for a couple half hours, so why don't I just take a quick little break and then I'll be right back. Is bed 2. Yeah, make sure to grab a drink and take care of yourselves, please and thanks. I'll be back in a sec. Alrighty then. Hello again. See if we can actually finish this in a reasonable amount of time. Thank you, Bit. Hello there. Hopefully everyone was able to get a little bit of a snack in, maybe a little bit of a break, just to make sure you're taking care of yourselves. That's not the angle we want. Oh, right, one other thing I forgot. That goes about halfway up her forearm? Actually, wrong way there. These will be like that. Also going to assume that all these bandages are just from Nisbet trying to play guitar, so they'll be thematically appropriate right now as well. Let's see here. Just general bandages elsewhere. A wee bit smaller. Gotta head out. It was nice chilling, watching art. Have a good night. Alright,
Goodbye.
sounds good. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your night, Haruhi, and we will get to talk with you another time. And rest up easy. Or well. There we go. Get rid of a bit more of those. They're a little bit too haphazard to be proper bandages. Here. There. I'm on the pencil. Don't do that, CSP. I very much like my pens. I was just gonna vibe and lurk like usual, and I noticed one of the tags you use for your stream. Team Catgirl Milk. I was wondering if anyone was gonna actually notice that tag at any point. Yeah, when it comes to Team Catgirl Milk, apparently this is something that Mousy started. So I've just kind of kept that on there since I am at least buddies with Mousy to some degree. But I am mildly curious as to where she actually came up with that one. Probably took me a while, but true. Admittedly, no one's really called it out yet, so you are the first one to at least do that so far, Z. Welcome in, by the way, though. Or at least welcome out from your lurk. Hopefully things are running relatively well for you so far. You think Purr is the origin? That's entirely possible. Purr is the origin for a lot of things, whether he wants to be or not. Here, clean that up a bit. There we go. And then Catgirl Milk does a body good. It generally does, yeah. Oops. Generally speaking, Catgirl Milk should be healthy for you as long as you know your catgirls are locally sourced and fed natural ingredients. I'm not even going to try and explain what a natural ingredient is for catgirls, but I'll leave your mind open to interpretation. Figure eraser. Please stop going back to the pencil tool. And then Ezo here, just ready to chug it on straight down. Well, not gonna blame you. Sometimes you just gotta get a little bit of catgirl milk in. It'll keep you ready for those visits to the vet, as well as, I'm sure, a myriad of other social ventures, which you'll probably promptly be kicked out of, but it'll at least do your body a bit healthier. Here. Then it's up from there to about here. Get rid of all of this sketchy horseshit. Hey, they're
I
non.
heard something about catgirl milk.
That you did, Non. That you did. Welcome in, by the way. Hopefully the evening's running well for you. And thank you for shoving yourself into the freezer for another month. I assure you there's not that much catgirl milk in there, but it's at least present as a part of the sponsorship with our friends. But how are things on your side so far? Hopefully able to enjoy yourself. That's 21 months, too. Holy crap. Thank you for the constant support, Non. Just lots of empty bottles, a concerning amount. Well, that's just because there are people who enjoy drinking milk a little bit too much, which I'm not going to fully fault on any one specific person. Yet, at least. That's a little bit longer. Really trying to figure out the angle on this, and it's just not coming to mind. go. Doing well, just organizing some animus. New season just started. Oh yeah, new season. Yeah, I guess it would be the winter season now, wouldn't it? And then finally finished. Ooh, Girls Last Tour. Yeah, Girls Last Tour is one of those shows that kind of desperately needs to get a continuation of its at least anime adaptation, considering the anime adaptation does not follow source material to say best of it. Oh, need to watch the Nier anime that's up today. Yeah, watching the Nier anime is probably a relatively good idea, but because it'll usually get you what you need. Um, that works. I thought it at least had to. It's definitely like close to what the manga representation is, but they had to speed through a lot to get it to where the anime ending was at least. So it's not like 100% accurate, but it's like 80%, I think, from what I recall. Here we go. Get those bands around the legs. Then about here. The ending was really weird and sudden otherwise. Also, the new Trigon started today. Oh yeah, that new 3D one, isn't it? Have you had a chance to, or has anyone had a chance to check that one out? Because I'm assuming they're going to be going in a relatively common direction with it, but with the fact that Vash looks significantly different than what he normally does, I'm not sure 100% how accurate to form it'll be to like old Trigun, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it just has people curious as to what they're going to be doing with it. Get rid of some of these sketchy circles that I was just using for knees. There we go. Not yet. I'm just organizing them now. Old Trigon kind of didn't follow source mat either. Oh, if the old Trigon didn't follow source mat, then yeah, then maybe the new one is going to follow source mat. That'll actually be kind of nice to see then. Because I like old Trigon, but I wasn't 100% certain how that would go. So I'm just betting they'll be closer to source now. Oh, probably, yeah. I mean, if they have the opportunity to go over that story again in an era where people are more comfortable, with more topics for the most part, then Trigun's story might just be told as native, which will be interesting to see, instead of any of the shenaniganry that the older one did. That's why I keep hitting that twice. Go here. Oh. Yeah, the old Trigun anime kind of squashed together Trigun and Trigun Max in a weird way. Mixed up the order on a lot of things. Oh no. They're mixing up order. That's definitely not helping their case very much then. And then, but it wasn't like a complete departure like FMA was from its manga. Hmm. I guess we'll see as it's coming out then, but if it's trying to stick a little bit closer to source material, then that should probably help it out a little bit. I'm just not sure to what extent we should really expect it to follow. Oops, there we go. Let's just get that in. Make it look a little bit more on point with what we're dealing with. Rid of that. That in. And I think there would be another fold like right there. There we go. That at least fits it a little bit better. Now the other foot, which is just kind of down here, which I'm going to say is in front of the cable. Here. Actually, a little bit too high, isn't it? Nismet's feet are not that big. I'm also realizing I haven't really watched Full Metal Alchemist in a hot minute. I mean, it's not like I usually revisit any of the slightly longer animes, but FMA is probably one I should watch again. Go to that. If only because FMA is relatively important to that era of people's childhoods. Let's see here. There we go. Then these just to help differentiate where the bottom actually is. Please stop selecting transparent layer. Okay. Now I think we can actually start on the amp. Which I'm covering most of it. So we're not going to get all the details, but we'll see what we can do. Hey, Jude. We'll be here in the corner. All right, sounds good, Jace. Enjoy your corner sitting. We're just gonna finish off this Nisbet and then... Oh, wow, it's 11:30 already. Right, I started really fucking late tonight. We'll finish off this Nisbet and then we'll probably just finish off the Milcery and kind of just wrap it up there. Okay. So 2023 is the year of the rabbit. Raisen wins the first 12.3 tourney of the year. Next, I imagine Toturi will take over Twitch. I mean, it's entirely possible. We're kind of just waiting on Toto to hit partner because they realistically should be able to hit it soon, PM. As most of our group realistically should, at least in terms of like Kin, Toto, Plu, and Melina, and all them. Can't imagine why they wouldn't be hitting it this year. Go. Get our force little corner cover on. And then I don't think we're going to be hitting... There's that little cloth that we put here just in relation to her boots, which not sure if these will get the best representation on here, but let's have a little bit of a tuck in, as you do. And then her bow, which was also on the side of the amp. Here. We know it's got two little tassels coming down now. That's going to be covered by the cable though, so we won't worry about it. Yep. Oh. Right there. Then there will be the grid of wiring. We need the other corner cover right here. Get rid of excess lines in the middle. And then it would be mildly awkward if Nisbet just kind of sat on the hat itself. Although I think it's fair enough to say that Nisbet would just kind of take the amp off of her head. Oh, that's a bit more rounded. And then most of the other details don't really hit. Oh, fuck. Come on, arm. You can do this. Where's our cursor at? There. You also need to get in the foot pedal. And then I guess we can get a color layer on this. We'll probably sit right here. She's not using it at the moment, but it is ready and waiting for when she does need it. Um, this would have a hinge on it. This would have some depth to it. Oh. This is wrapped up in bandages just for texture's sake. Then countdown. I'm not finishing this in 7 seconds. Or at least 7 very elongated seconds. Good. And then that's technically about as much detail as I can get into the Nisbet amp for this. So here. Here. Try and get some of the smaller details. Alright, I'm mildly confused. Why are you not drawing on anything now? Oh, because I'm selected on transparency again. That explains a good bit. Then the foot pedal is this orange color. And then the orange is just on the bow, so that's not too bad. Ooh, slightly bigger brush. That's better. And her little fingies. And her legs. Oh, right, and her other arm. Should probably worry about that a little bit too. Doot doot doot. Then this is also flesh colored, but this is not because that's supposed to be a little bit of a darker shade due to the fishnet effect. At least from what I can visually tell, it's meant to be a fishnet of some kind. Yeah. Then we get nice gray for the top. Then I will probably make a slightly darker gray for the skirt, since they appear to be two separate pieces. And just a wee bit darker. Honestly, go even a little darker. Good. Okay. Then the bubble gum in her hair. That's a bit much, actually. There we go. Then these blockers are also the same pink, technically. Oh yeah, okay. Maybe this is my 2021 recap, actually, not the 2022 one. Okay, yeah, that is the right color. Definitely looks a lot darker in Nisbet's reference image than I'm getting it, but I'm just gonna blame the fact that my eyes suck. There we go. And then the amp itself is supposed to be the same gray. Also, apologies that I'm getting a little quiet. With it getting a little bit later at the night, my energy does tend to run out a little bit. And I'm trying to just focus on my ability to get these colors in before my hand kind of just tells me to stop. There. Then we grab this, color in the grid of the amp, except for her name. Solar panels don't have that much energy at this time of the day. They sadly don't, and considering this cabin runs on mostly solar, but also just geothermal, I do gotta kind of conserve the batteries a bit for the recharge cycle when I need to kind of conk out. Oot. There we go. We're doing relatively good progress. Trying to finish something that I'm not very good at, which is a full human portrait and a Pokemon. This also gets the same black. In one sitting is definitely a bit much, but we're getting there. This is meant to be the gold, but here. Then, oh, Jesus. Okay, hold up. Having hand tracking would be mildly useful right now just to show you what I'm doing, but my hand was tensing up a little bit too hard. Alright, let's see here. What else do we need? We need white for all the bandage stuff. Need white. And we're gonna have to figure out just colors for that guitar as well, I'm realizing. And I'm going to imagine it would be pink, if only because that would help to make it pop a bit more. But we do also need a neck color. Let's just do that for the neck. We'll come back and fix those dials, but Give the neck a slightly darker wood. One could say possibly a cherry wood. Then here. Now I just gotta get around the hands. Okay. Ow. Hey, the Jason. Welcome in. Yep, I do my art streams on Saturdays for now. Which, since Ezo got the points in for a claim, that means Ezo gets to, or at least dictate what I'm doing for the next little while. Since for some reason I can do Pokemon nearly instantly, but whenever it comes to anything else, it takes me a while to actually get all the form factor in. But how are things on your side, Jason? Here. And peace. Then these also get the gray. There we go. Doing all right so far? Always good to hear. Any mysterious plans that you have coming up, or should we just expect everything to go wrong next time stream pops online? Yeah. It's already wrong. Exactly. Damn it. There we go. I'll remember my own commands eventually. Good. I will have to finish this relatively soon, though. My hand is starting to hurt like a bitch. Here. Get in all of there. Then this color also goes here. Then there. And in here to color in Nisbet's name. Yep. Too much. There you go. And bandages right there. Oh, whoops. Nope, her boots. Okay. Now I think the only thing that needs color is the guitar, which I'm designating as this because I can't really show the rest of the pink. Oh, you can shoot your fish gun at me all you want, Jason, but that thing's going to be very ineffective against a metal casing. Oh, get that going in here. Okay, maybe a missile will be enough, Omega. But considering you're out here with the Toho luck, I'm not sure if anyone other than Utsuho is going to have anything of that nuclear power. Oh, yeah, the guitar and the pick, sorry. I'm forgetting that Nisbet would use a pick, which is what this scratchy mess of lines is right underneath here. But the pick itself is probably going to be the same orange as like her bow. Also, yes, welcome to the comfy stream where the artist tends to listen to relatively heavy drum and bass to make sure he stays awake while he's getting stuff done. Now, does that mean that we actually have a Mythical Jason stream going? Or is Jason just chilling for now? Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna have to end this soon. Hands cannot handle doing this much focus work. There we go. 2 dead this weekend, maybe tomorrow. Alright. Sounds like a plan then, Jason. Oh. Then orange. For the pick. Now, have I missed anything? I don't think so, but okay, a little bit of bleed here and there. Um, oops. Honestly, swear I had hit there when I was initially doing my white pass. Uh, Racer, please. Looks very poggers. Well, thank you, Bit. Certainly trying my best, since drawing people is not my forte in the slightest. there. How's it feel with the tablet now? Honestly, having a slightly bigger tablet isn't a bad thing, but my actual endurance for drawing on a tablet is just gone. So it's kind of just one of these things I need to rebuild up the stamina for, or just work on my joints more, I guess. Because I think my hands are a little bit too tensed up while I'm doing this, which is leading to some minor finger issues. That's good. I'm usually used to having the like non-screen tablets anyways, so it's nothing new from that perspective at least. Although I know there are a few people who kind of just prefer having the screened tablets, which is understandable. Having the oops, having the full screen for a tablet is probably a little bit more forgiving when you're working on stuff. But I'm kind of in a similar-ish camp to like Kin, where having no screen for a tablet is just something you train yourself to work with, and then once you're comfortable enough with it, it's fine. There we go. Um, that takes care of all the major holes at least. Yeah, aside from that, it's good. I think I just hate the pen that came with it because it's very small. So I keep hitting the like quick select button on the pen itself, and it's not something that I like very much. I think that's really the only problem I've had with the new tablet. And yeah, it is just a preference. Yeah. You kind of just get one, and as depending on how long you're working with it is what you end up just becoming comfortable with at the end of the day. It's why it's mildly hard to just kind of say, hey, by the way, you should probably be using a screened tablet because those are clearly better, which that's not the case at all. If you just kind of get used to having the dissociation between your hands and where your pen is on screen, it's not that big of a difference. It just kind of takes a bit of getting used to. Which is weird, if only because I am like a pencil drawer at first, so you'd think a screen tablet would be better. But I think just because of the fact that I started with a no screen tablet and just kept practicing with that, it just kind of worked out kind of in my favor that way. So I don't have to worry about the excessively expensive screened tablets. Yeah, those are just lines. Okay. Unless Nisbet is getting freckles on her thighs, then I don't think we got to worry about that too much. Now let's see, how much can I clean this? Because this is about as much as I put into the sketch redeems for the most part. Unless I'm just feeling super excited one day. I don't usually put too much past this level of detail. Oops. There we go. Get rid of that just because that's hurting my eyes now. There we go. Can't really get the Nisbet amp in there at all, but we can at least try our best. Um, no, right. JUD. I think 3 DT. DT. There we go. And you're welcome, Ezo. Let me just put this in the Discord. Nisbet 2, save. Didn't have any not safe for work stuff showing. Sketches. Nisbet on her Nisbet. Then we can get rid of those for now. Don't save. Don't save. Don't save. And then we'll just make sure we're finishing up. All right, this one can go away. Then we'll just make sure we can finish this one up. Oh, wait. That works. Which I'm not sure if I want to do the full background on now. I was thinking of doing a grassy field, but we could realistically just kind of keep it to that. That's way too saturated. No, don't do that, hand. Not that way. Actually. Let's see here. No. Let's see here. What can we do for a back? We could probably just keep it like that, to be honest. Here. Drop. Falcon Time Machine. This goes down here, if you'll allow it. Here, purple. It's too small somehow. J, U, B. Come on, Jude, make your D a little bit more apparent. 3, B, E. Then the at. And I guess Team Catgirl Milk actually does make a little bit more sense considering we were doing Mailstreet today, huh? That's always nice when that's just conveniently timed. Let me make that a little brighter. Still a little dull. There we go. Cool. That gives us 2 drawings done for the day. Milcery. And then this can be added into here as well. Milcery from Daily Pokemon Sketch. Alrighty then. Oh, while I wait for my arm to respawn again, why don't we go find someone to raid? Do want to thank everyone for coming by, though, just while we're getting some art together. And while we go through one of my older playlists, apparently, because I don't think I've listened to most of this. And apologies, Bit. I don't mean to try and cut your bit short, but I can only handle drawing for a certain amount of time, unfortunately. And hey, look, we can actually get some revenge on Toto since they've been avoiding all of us. Raid Totori. This is definitely going to be low to high, but that's honestly about normal whenever I try and raid Toto. But do want to thank everyone for stopping by. This is the end of my usual stream week at the very least, so I'll be back next Wednesday or so. We're probably going to be doing... Have we been doing on Wednesday, actually? Short-term memory. Elden Ring, that's it. Right, we're doing our Tree Night run in Elden Ring. Thursdays is currently just set to Digimon Cyber Sleuth stuff, so we'll be continuing Hacker's Memory a bit. Friday, we do normally have Potionomics, but I'm kind of wondering if we should keep playing that or not. I do like it as a game, I just don't like streaming it as much, to be completely honest with you. And then Saturdays is usually our art stuff. So we'll just be doing another Pokemon spin to see what we get. And then whatever else pops up at the time. But thank everybody for joining. Hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And I'll get to talk with you later. But for now, bye-bye. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.